Have you ever noticed that sometimes the people we admire most become even more likable when they make a mistake? A celebrity trips on the red carpet and laughs it off. A politician mispronounces a word and makes a joke about it. A comedian drops their mic, then uses it as part of the routine. Instead of losing respect, they gain charm. This strange phenomenon has a name: the Pratfall Effect. The term comes from psychologist Elliot Aronson, who first studied it in the 1960s. He wanted to understand what makes people likable. In his experiment, participants listened to recordings of a man answering difficult quiz questions. In one version, the man did everything almost flawlessly. He was smart, confident, and articulate. In another version, the same man did just as well, but at the end, he accidentally spilled coffee on himself. The results? The man who spilled coffee was rated as more likable. Why? Because perfection can feel intimidating. A tiny blunder makes someone feel more human, more relatable. It closes the gap between them and us. Think about it. When someone is too polished, too flawless, we often feel distant. We admire them, but we don't always like them. But when they make a small, harmless mistake, we suddenly relax. We see ourselves in them. But here's the key. The Pratfall Effect works only under certain conditions. Aronson's experiment showed that competence comes first. A small blunder humanizes someone who is already skilled. But if someone is seen as incompetent to begin with, a blunder only reinforces that perception. Imagine two people giving presentations. One is knowledgeable, confident, and clearly in command, but fumbles with the clicker. The audience chuckles, feels warmer toward them, and maybe even roots for them more. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who already seems nervous and unprepared, then drops their notes. In that case, the mistake confirms doubt, not likability. That's the delicate balance at the heart of the Pratfall Effect. You can see it play out across many areas of life. Take dating. Studies in attraction show that people are drawn to authenticity. A date who seems flawless might impress, but they can also feel cold, distant, or even suspicious. On the other hand, someone who admits to quirks, tells a funny, embarrassing story, or laughs at themselves feels approachable. Their mistakes don't damage attraction. They strengthen it. Think of someone spilling water at dinner and laughing about it. It doesn't ruin the evening. In fact, it often becomes the most memorable part of the night. The effect also shows up in leadership. Employees tend to respect bosses who admit their shortcomings. A leader who says, "I don't know the answer, but I'll find out," often earns more trust than one who pretends to know everything. Admitting small mistakes signals honesty. It creates psychological safety. People think, if they'll admit that, they'll also be honest about bigger things. Now, think about performers. Musicians, athletes, and actors sometimes create their most memorable moments not through perfection, but through imperfection. A singer hitting the wrong note and grinning, a soccer player slipping and then laughing it off, or an actor forgetting a line and improvising. These moments stick with audiences because they're real. They transform a performance into a shared human experience. The Pratfall Effect also extends into everyday situations like job interviews. A candidate who seems competent but admits to being a little nervous can come across as more genuine and relatable than a candidate who insists they're flawless. Interviewers want skill, but they also want someone human. Even on social media, you can see this principle at work. Feeds that are too polished can feel alienating. But when influencers share bloopers, unedited laughs, or candid slip-ups, engagement often rises. Audiences connect with imperfection because it feels authentic in a world of filters and curated images. But while the Pratfall Effect is powerful, it also has boundaries. It works best when the person is already perceived as competent. The mistake is small and harmless, not catastrophic. The response to the mistake is graceful. ideally with humor or humility. Without those conditions, the effect can backfire. Imagine a surgeon who makes a slip during a procedure. No one finds that charming. Or a pilot making a major error mid-flight. In those cases, mistakes are not humanizing. They're terrifying. So, the trick is in scale and context. Tiny, relatable mistakes in safe settings add warmth. Big mistakes in critical settings destroy trust. Psychologists also point out that the Pratfall effect is closely tied to vulnerability. When someone reveals that they're not perfect, they invite connection. Vulnerability is magnetic because it reassures us that we're not alone in our flaws. That's why comedians often become so beloved. Their entire craft is built around pointing out imperfections, in themselves, in others, and in the world. They stumble, exaggerate, and self-deprecate. And we love them for it, because they make imperfection feel normal. So, how can you use the Pratfall effect in your own life? First, don't fear small mistakes. If you trip, mispronounce a word, or laugh awkwardly, don't rush to cover it up. Handling it with humor or grace makes you more relatable. Second, embrace vulnerability. Share stories of your failures as well as your successes. People often connect more deeply with the failures. And third, avoid over-polishing. Whether it's a job interview, a presentation, or a social media post, being too perfect can create distance. Controlled imperfection builds trust. The lesson of the Pratfall effect is not that mistakes are always good, it's that humanity is more attractive than perfection. Competence makes people respect you. Imperfections make them love you. So here's my question for you. What's a time you messed up, and instead of making things worse, it made people like you more? Was it a stumble, a joke gone wrong, or a silly accident that broke the ice? Share your story in the comments. I'll be reading. And if you enjoyed this dive into psychology, subscribe to the Curiosity Vault. Every day we unlock another hidden truth about how the mind works. Until next time, stay curious.